Thank you, Mr. Dr. Kremlis, and thank you for inviting me in this forum today. It's obvious that climate change is the single greatest threat we're facing at this moment, and the Mediterranean is one of the world's hotspots of climate change. So this is already having a real and serious consequences across the Mediterranean basin, and they will increase over the coming decades, with sea levels expected foreseen to exceed 1 meter by 2100 by the end of the century, which will impact about 1/3 of the population in the region. So urgent and far-reaching action is needed, both to mitigate further greenhouse gas emissions and to adapt to the new reality of a warming sea. The climate crisis that we're living through is exacerbating the threats already posed to marine ecosystems, especially in our closed and busy sea, the Mediterranean. We need to tackle climate and environmental challenges through bold new policy strategies and programs to increase the region's adaptation capacity and resilience. So cohesion and the new governance models must be supported and promoted in our region. All measures must respect the do no harm principle and contribute to the sustainable and inclusive development of the Mediterranean by building back better and leaving no one behind. We have to focus on how the Mediterranean can become resilient, climate resilient, pandemic resilient, and peace resilient, war resilient, let's say, and how it can be progressively transformed into a circular economy area while also implementing the sustainable development goals. So the key steps for that would be to promote and support the circular economy and the digital economy in the Mediterranean, develop the required synergies among the EU and the Union for the Mediterranean, promote a climate resilient and pandemic resilient Mediterranean, because our coastal areas and islands are very vulnerable to climate change and also to tourism. All the key policy areas have to integrate the circular and digital economy principles, and we need to integrate circularity in agriculture, in energy, in tourism, in culture, and in this context we also need to promote good practices and eco-innovation. We need to promote our new policy of the sustainable blue economy to contribute to the Green Deal objectives through decarbonization, circular economy, biodiversity protection, climate adaptation, and sustainable food production. Also a common civil protection mechanism for the Mediterranean should be developed. I think that as global challenges push for regional solutions, the Mediterranean is an ideal situation where the opportunity for the development of a common future in an area where geography, commerce, and history have long been shared is obvious. And this future is to be built at a time when the societies of Europe and the countries of the Southeast Mediterranean are facing the common unprecedented challenges needed to meet the common unprecedented changes. Our environmental issues and the effects of climate change are central in the minds of people and decision makers in the area. The inhabitants of the coastal region, of the coastal areas and islands of the Mediterranean, whose economies rely heavily on the blue economy, are very strongly affected by challenges such as extreme heat, soil erosion, desertification, pollution, and the carbon footprint of maritime activities, overfishing and invasive species, natural resources management, food security, scarcity of water, but also scarcity of skills and education. So these policies that are needed to ensure socioeconomic and environmental sustainability must be seen as an economic opportunity that the Mediterranean offers, while at the same time preserving our ecosystems and maintaining and increasing their values. The Mediterranean countries must work together and seize the opportunity presented by the blue and the green economy for economic diversification and development in the fields of energy, of coastal and maritime tourism, of integrated maritime surveillance, fisheries, and sustainable agriculture and biotechnology, incorporating the fundamental principles of environmental sustainability. All the above constitute a fertile ground for the construction of public goods on a regional scale, supporting actions in the institutional, economic, and research field, and creating jobs and resilience in both the north and the south. Our region has all the assets, not only to ensure long-term security of energy supply, but also to lead the energy transition. North-South relations in the Mediterranean are characterized by common challenges and complementary advantages. For example, in the north, the know-how in renewable energy and energy efficiency sectors, in the south, a huge solar and wind potential that awaits. There stands an opportunity to build a complementary community. The Balkans and most of the Mediterranean basin are a treasure of renewable energy seen through the eyes of a Northern European. And yet, none of us has proceeded in really developing what is given to us generously. The countries north of Greece and the Balkans burn fossil fuels unabated coal and lignite, thereby reducing the life expectancy of their citizens, contributing significantly to global warming. And therefore, they risk being trapped in a circle of black economy with ever-increasing costs and diminishing prospects for the citizens. East of Greece, we see the development of nuclear energy with its own hazard problems and the big issue of nuclear waste. Most hazardous of all, however, are the escalating tensions around an alleged wealth buried at the bottom of the Mediterranean, the hydrocarbons and the military activity that unfolds around a mining that will never take place, since by the time they reach mining, there will be neither the demand nor a price that can support the whole investment. So all this tension with tremendous risk for tourism, for biodiversity loss, for good relations, and all the expense of military spending, when health, education, and infrastructure are facing critical challenges, which one way or another are related to global warming, climate change, pandemics, and the loss of life and property from the collapse of any civil protection network, even in countries like Germany. So it is necessary to build a common path to deal with common problems. Today, together, we will suffer the climatic condition of sub-Saharan regions. We will not have fish in our nets. Together, we will drown in every storm, and we will burn in fires that exceed our capabilities of firefighting. We're going to lose fellow human beings, crops, herds, and infrastructure. So instead of jeopardizing security in the region, investing in equipment that exacerbates the problem and the consequences of climate change, let us look at the common futures in the Mediterranean area in terms of the changes already caused by climate change and work together for solutions. We saw it in the Greek-Turkish approach, in the simpler issue of tourism with tangible results. It can also work on energy, helping the Mediterraneans and the Balkans break away from the past and move forward in harmony with what is to come instead of being stuck with what is gone. The results of this efforts will be the safest way to the well-being of citizens and the strengthening of social cohesion in each state individually. We would be having a completely different discussion today if we had built together, instead of a belligerent rhetoric, bold words and armament suppliers, the urgent need to upgrade our infrastructure, create cheap energy for home and businesses, and strengthen social cohesion. So here comes the European Green Deal as a response, both internally and as a foreign policy on the basis of international cooperation, and not to the salvation of the planet at the expense of the economy, as the proponents of the past and the energy derived from fossil fuels try to convince us. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kokelis, for this very thorough presentation. You have referred to all the key challenges that the Mediterranean, and in particular the Eastern Mediterranean, is facing, as our region is more threatened in terms of climate change than other regions, including Western Mediterranean, which is less threatened. I have taken note of your proposals, which we all share, for better cooperation. The combat against climate change unites us. We need to join forces to boost the energy transition and climate neutrality, and in that respect, we can promote further eco-technologies, innovation, green jobs. These are the key elements that will make the Mediterranean basin more sustainable, greener, and better in terms of the quality of life for not only of our citizens, but also as one of the favorite tourism destinations worldwide. Therefore, these are the key challenges, rather than discussing about hydrocarbons which belong to the past. We have now ahead of us all the new technologies. We have hydrogen. We will have in the second half of the century fusion. Therefore, there is room and I would say ambitious field to promote further our cooperation and make our region a circular region. This is the objective of Circle the Med, where green growth, blue economy and digital economy under the umbrella of circular economy can work together with a view to the highest possible added value and the support from the European Union. Yesterday we had all the Interreg Med programs. They will put more emphasis on that. we have the neighborhood policy instrument, we have the pre-accession instrument. Therefore, a lot of things, and you in the European Parliament and the European Parliament is promoting a lot this green energy agenda, which is what we need to save our planet and the future of our generations. Thank you very much for your participation.